fucking tapes? Of what? Fuck you, prove it. I got boxes of tapes, evidence, other documents proving it. Just fucking kill me. I am killing you.
When I got into this whole debacle, I never expected it to be easy. I knew that presenting this to the world was going to be an uphill battle, and I was correct. But the more I hear from people in the real world, the more I realize that their attitudes are changing about all of this. And for me, that's very good to hear. It has been a lot of work. It can't be good news for the people attempting to keep this in the dark, but as Johnny Cash once said, what is down in the dark will be brought to the light. I've reverse engineered every case I have ever studied, from front to back, back to front, and all in between. I see it as like my job to think as the engineers of this system think. And due to all the years that I've put into this, I have become sort of the Mad-Eye Moody of radio frequency, electronic, and audio warfare. What am I getting at? There are different types of situations with this weapon. This system is a ELF signal that is everywhere, basically vibrating everything. It's where the hum comes from, which has been around since the early 90s. It is everywhere. And I hear about this all the time. There are cases where people will hear it in an area, whether it's the hum or people talking or what becomes a haunted house scenario. There are all types of those cases everywhere. Are they intentional? No, not all of them. But it's there to be intentional, and where it pops up, right? Then there are cases where people are intentionally being made to hear this. Now, when the system got in full swing, they began testing it out on people of all lifestyles, of all incomes, of all IQs, of everything, a broad spectrum of people, from physicists to doctors to janitors to housewives. And when you have sensitizers at work, people just would become sensitized to it. So you have randoms, right? But when there is an overt operation going on, these people are being picked out due to lifestyle or owning a firearm or their political views. There are many factors involved with this. You've got demographics, you have sensitizers at work, and then you have people that are just flat out being picked out for it. If someone is intentionally being made to hear this, and the system is using them to create some type of mental health narrative or pre-crime policing or for some type of agenda, how are they going to profile somebody? Now I want to talk about this, and then we're going to get into the SWAT rap. I've got a lot of really interesting stuff to show you. But let's talk about this a little bit. First off, for an operation like the loose cannon, we'll call it the loose cannon operation. For a loose cannon operation, you may look for a history of obsessing over something, paying attention to details. And paying attention to details can be cultivated into obsession with the right nudging. All of this can be cultivated into somebody being hyper aware, hyper vigilant, really paying attention to what is going on around them. Now, does the person have a history of violence or maybe losing their temper? Or do they have a history of fighting with neighbors, maybe moodiness, carrying grudges, etc.? These are all greatly beneficial, as this allows a giant window into their nature and their temperament. Does the person have low impulse control? And there can be many signs and symptoms of low impulse control: drug and alcohol use, cheating, unpredictable behavior. There are many ways to identify low impulse control. Another thing that I would look for, mainly in males, but all over you can use this, is no father figure or little father figure there. People without father figures seem to have a harder time controlling their temper. And this is something I've noticed, especially with males over the years. A bonus: does the person have a previous mental health diagnosis? If so, it can be used to the system's advantage when it comes to sweeping this under the rug and avoiding future questions. But it's not a deal breaker, but it's a bonus. Now, how social are they? How social are they currently? And are they isolated? Are they loners at this point in time? Because this will help when it comes to controlling the narrative and controlling their behavior before any incidents happen. When no one is around to bear witness to a person's behavior, it is very, very easy to paint the details in. And then the media will take care of the rest with their sensationalism. Now you can start to see how someone can be chiseled away and profiled and picked out for something like this. Many, many people can be driven to violence or insane actions, seemingly insane actions, when they feel that their life is on the line. It is way easier than people believe. Let's talk about bonus factors. In their eyes, this is what I'm talking about, thinking like the system, or picking somebody out for the system. Has a parent, brother, sister, or close relative passed away? And is that person superstitious? Or do they believe in the paranormal? Anyone who believes the veil between the living and dead is thin, this can be greatly used to the system's advantage. Do they believe in demons? Do they have a history with the occult? That can all be used and cultivated as a voice breaking over from the other side, right? Does the person have a feud that has gone on with something? Workplace, family feud, inheritance, divorce. When it comes to cases like this, it is almost too easy to manipulate the subject into believing that anything out of the ordinary going on is the work of whoever they are feuding with. That is so easy to do, and it happens all the time. Do they have an us against them attitude? Is there a reason for them to have a us against them attitude? Do they have the lifestyle of somebody who has an us against them attitude? You could use any kind of political activist. You could use people from the LGBTQ community. You could use a myriad of different people that may have an us against them attitude. These are the personality profiles of the people that are driven to do irrational things that are against their better judgment, these motiveless crimes. There are profiles to these people that are used, and it's used to the system's advantage. And when you really understand that, it opens the door to understanding a lot more about it, how this is working, and what it is doing. Now, with all that said, the system is also influencing a lot of people that aren't overtly affected by these weapons, and the number of people that it is affecting is large. I have recorded dozens of people sleeping or had them record. These are people that have zero interaction or symptoms of a system like this in their day-to-day lives, but when they sleep, they are being affected by it. The number of people is, it's astronomical. I mean, just out of the people that I have recorded or had them record and sent me the audio, it is amazing. It's always negative. What these people hear is always negative. I want to bring something that I've showed before. I want to talk about what this guy heard a while back. And he had fell asleep with headphones on and kind of like woke up, and he was hearing these voices talking. Now, I don't believe that has anything to do with the headphones. He was just hearing it, and he had been listening to something when he fell asleep. Let me play this for you. This is from a long time ago, the 90s, and he's explaining what he heard when he woke up from his sleep and just kind of sat there listening to it.
The next thing I know, I wake up because I'm hearing like an old-time radio broadcast in the headphones. There's no way this could have happened because you had to flip a switch to even, go. You remember how old stereos were? You go off of cassette onto radio or whatever. And the voices that I heard, the background noises, everything was very neutral. If you had a cookie cutter of what a human being is, just a voice. They were talking about cataclysms and these terrible things happening in the world. This broadcaster is talking, and he says that he was trapped inside of a cave.
Now, that is nightmare-inducing stuff, right? Being trapped in a cave. Even if he's talking about him being trapped in a cave, if you are hearing this in your sleep, way down when your brain waves are low, you're going to be picking this up. You are going to start having dreams. Many people have fell asleep to television shows. It's happened to me. And you may have a dream that you're flying a jet and you wake up and a plane is on the television. This does the exact same thing.
That he could not get out of this cave. You know, he was beginning to have near-death experiences, and, you know, something tragic and terrible was happening.
And that is very interesting that he's talking about having near-death experiences, almost as though a voice is trying to trigger it in other people. This was not lost on this guy, which is very good. I'm glad that he was able to understand what was actually happening to him.
Now, as this is happening, there's a part of me that realizes that this is absolutely wrong. Everything that I'm hearing is wrong. This is not supposed to be happening at all. It is not normal for that to happen. So I knew immediately that this was not some broadcast. This was something much, much worse. And it started saying things like, we are coming through the walls. We are getting closer now.
Pay attention to that part, because this is the part that I need you to really pay attention to. We are coming through the walls. We are getting closer now. I have heard that in so many recordings of people sleeping. We're outside. Come outside. Almost trying to instigate sleepwalking. We're here. We're outside the window. A myriad of different negative statements. And it never ceases to amaze me how often it has happened to other people and how this isn't being put together, that it's not natural.
We are coming through the walls. We are getting closer now. Kind of like this phase of ingratiation where something is presenting itself in such a way to traumatize you.
He's absolutely right about that. It's like nightmare inducing, and it's all negative. It is always negative. Now, I was recording with the SWAT rat recently and doing experiments with it late at night. And I want to show you this. I picked up a voice saying very similar things, and it's clearer, so I can show you this as evidence. Now, in this late night SWAT rat test, you're going to hear some pulses come through, and they are right here, and they're going to be trying to form words, but you really can't make out what it's saying. Let's check that out. That's a phrase, but it's just lost because it's not picking it up correctly. But right after that, it says the negative phrase, you are not safe.
You are not safe. You are not safe.
You are not safe.
You are.
You are not safe.
Not safe. Not safe. Not safe. Not safe. You are not safe.
Here a deeper voice comes in, and it says, let them in. And then this goes on with another word that pops up. And then here it says, they're coming. They're coming. So let them in, and then they're coming. The same kind of stuff that this guy was talking about back in the 90s. Now, I've recorded this for years. Was it as clear as this? No. But I've been recording this for years, and I knew it was there. So if somebody is hearing this in their sleep, it is nightmare-inducing stuff. And it can induce a lot of things that you do not want induced. Always negative. You are not safe.
You are not safe.
You are not safe. They're coming. Let them in. You know, really fear-inducing and negative things. Now, last week, I was working with a couple who, the woman is having bad dreams all the time. Negative dreams, bad dreams. And I just set up and recorded. Now, this is based on the idea, which I've done it before, but it wasn't as clear, that many women are getting negative ideas put into their sleep. And I have talked about this before, that you take away the negativity. A woman may take away the negativity and not know why. If you are being argued with by something for 6 to 8 hours a night, it will wear you out. And there are also negative ideas You know, what about someone who has a tendency to be insecure? And then those insecure ideas are reinforced for 8 hours a night. So we did recordings for about 2.5 hours, and I took it home and checked it out. I'm allowed to use it. I'm not allowed to use who they are, where they live, etc. This went on and on and on, but I'm going to show you just a couple areas that are very, very interesting. Here is basically a 20-second clip, and it talks about basically cheating, fucking her husband, blah, 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 blah. And this is somebody who's not overtly being affected by, weaponized ELF or RF on a daily basis. They're just having bad dreams all the time. Negative dreams, bad dreams. So check this out.
And they're watching camera.
So that first voice says, and they're watching, and then camera.
And they're watching camera. And they're watching camera.
And then it says,
I fucked your husband.
I fucked your husband.
I fucked your husband.
It's unintelligible here.
We fuck him.
We fuck him.
We fuck him. Husband.
And it says something else about the husband.
Husband.
So you can understand how a relationship could be dissolved by feeding somebody negative crap all night long. Now it keeps going and going the whole time. It doesn't stop. But I only need to show you a little bit for you to understand. We don't have to go over the whole thing. Here is a clip where it says, "Why would you cheat?" And it's a woman's voice.
Why would you cheat? Why would you cheat?
And some of this is garbled here. But it says revelation here.
Revelation. 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 Revelation.
At first I thought it said revolution, but it says revelation.
Revelation. Revelation.
That's elation.
Revelation. Revelation. Revelation.
So it is reaffirming cheating and revelation.
Why would you cheat? Revelation. I'm here.
And that is also, it is two different things at the same time, so I'm not sure exactly what it says.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Now, this is not the first time this has happened, like I said. I've recorded dozens of people sleeping that are not affected by this on a daily basis, that seem to be being affected by this as they sleep. Now, audio is a form of dream control. You can direct dreams with sound. And if somebody is bombarded with it every night, you can keep them from having any natural dreams of their own for eternity if you wanted to. So this is something to really think about. Think about your attitudes, what you take away from your sleep. When you fall asleep, are you having what feels like premature REM sleep? Are you having conversations with lots of people instantly? Take all of this into consideration. Has your sleep changed? Have you noted that your sleep changed at some point? And if it has, what changed about it? And do you feel like you're looping when you're sleeping? Does it feel like you're almost having a fever dream on a normal night's sleep? Does it feel like you're thinking or dreaming about the same thing over and over? These are important things to consider because this is being documented left and right. As this progresses, I will be documenting this more and more. Now, this is for no other reason than for me to show you that the system and the signal can drop down for no reason. You'll get one loud pulse, and then the other voices will get very low at times. And then you have to even all that out sometimes. But check this out. This is the way it will sometimes come in. You'll get one loud pulse like this.
Check. Yeah.
And it will get lower and lower. But the SWAT rat isn't perfect yet. This is still being worked on. As I learn more and more about it, I know what I need to do and how I need to boost things. But there are overt people with profile points like we've talked about before in many, many cases, just like Brohini Bisasar that we were just talking about. Those are overt cases, but people are being affected by this in ways that they don't even realize. And it's imperative that people realize that. Before I get out of here, thank you to everybody who has donated. You are helping me advance this and advance the ability to prove this as we move along, and I really appreciate that. And that's it for now. Look out for Charlie.
Come on, do Nazi stuff.
Look out for Charlie.